All right, everybody, welcome into this ancestor reading today. I have had some extraordinary experiences over the past. This is a few years now, but this is really starting to get very powerful in terms of my own gifts. I can feel them kind of up leveling here a little bit. I hope that that's coming through the readings lately because I'm just feeling it so strongly. And so let's see what wants to come through. Also connecting with Mother Mary much more strongly these days. So if you're brought here by the title, you know what that means. This is for you. So let's see where oh, yes, indeed. Okay, this was one of the messages that came through to me today. And I have been very I don't know what the word is. Kind of like whatever. When people would talk about how I can't meditate and that's not for me and I don't know, but I really want to open up to my gifts, and I would kind of just be like, well, okay, there's lots of other things you can do, and we talk about automatic writing, we talk about all this. They all require this plugging in, okay? And meditation or clearing your mind is required. And I just feel like I keep, going back to, well, people have monkey mind, and I get that because I definitely had that too. But there's this sense of like, what are you afraid to hear? And that struck me as so true when I'm working with, whether it's in Pathfinders or whatever, and people say that. And I'm always like, I feel like a lot of you are, on this spiritual path and things are bubbling up, but it's kind of like, well, I don't want to hear certain things. I only want to hear these things. And I'm just saying to you, like, I feel like there's nothing to be afraid of. This is part of the experience of you opening up to your guides, opening up to, whatever. I really feel super strongly, especially today in Pathfinders. I talked about the elementals, the fairies, right? The nature spirits. And I have felt very connected to nature spirits, but it hasn't been like sort of my go-to channeling partner. But I will say to you that um coming out of surgery one time, I woke up and there were three nurses standing over me, and they're like, "Who are the fairies? Who are you talking to?" It was like this, and they're like, "Strong Irish brogue came through you, and you were talking to the fairies and all this kind of stuff." And that happened to me more than once. Okay. And so I kind of was just like, what? And I will say that, when Titanic came out, I felt such a strong resonance to the third class passengers, the Irish. And so when I was growing up, I'm an adopted kid. So a lot of times people will ask me about my upbringing in a Catholic family, Irish Catholic family. But like, I just, assumed I was Irish, and I've done the DNA thing, and I'm really not. And I would always be like, can't you see the map of Donegal printed on my face? And people are like, actually, no. And so I was like, what is that about? So this is a past life memory for me. And it really is. I was working on the elementals and the fairies and the trolls and the sprites and nature spirits and mushrooms and trees and all that. There's just this beautiful, childlike, pixie energy that I have always felt so plugged into. And that's one of the benefits of meditation is that, you're kind of like, okay, I want this information, but I don't want that information, or I'm afraid to hear what you're going to say, or I don't want to see dead people, or whatever it is. But I just feel like you are always protected. You're always in good company when your intention is to channel from the light. Okay. You have to be intentional about these things. You can't just be like, okay, I'll just be wide open, because you don't want to do that. Okay. And also, it's going to throw you off as to like what's coming through for what purpose. Okay. So you can channel from the light, and I do this with all my readings. Not every reading is like sunshine and fairy dust, right? Like there are plenty of readings that are like, wow, that was, I don't know. That was something that really was dynamically not positive. But I always look at those readings that we think of as negative readings, or we think of as whatever, not positive readings because it's not sunshine and fairy dust. I'm like, all of those readings are designed to connect with the person who is uh, on path to hear those messages, and designed for information. It's information. It's neutral. Okay. So meditation being asked of you again here. Look at that. Protection. You are protected. Air. Wow. 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 And gratitude. Just this beauty, right? This beautiful lighthearted energy that I'm working in this morning just feels so lovely. And I mean, it's funny that my entire life, my go-to Halloween costume is a fairy. All the time. I've got so many different fairy wings and all kinds of stuff. And I just never really connected all of that with the nature spirits. I just thought, well, I'm a Sag, so fairies. So let's see what we got here for you. What's coming through? But some of you are really connected to the fairies, which is why I'm even talking about that this morning. I just feel so incredibly connected to that right now. So the fairies. Well, the fairies come. Let's see what's going on with the fairies. 9 of Cups. Here we go. Tower. 5 of Pentacles. 9 of Pentacles. And the 8 of Wands. Okay, we are coming to the end of a cycle here, and those who are really holding on are going to be dragged again. I keep saying this message keeps trying to get through. The only thing I can say is that it feels a lot like I keep having to reiterate, because different people are watching these videos. Different people are, and this can be like a bigger collective, this message for a bigger collective than how we normally read on this channel. A lot of times I'm reading, and I don't know if I'm reading for thousands of people or tens of people or millions of people or whatever, right? It's like, that's not my job to determine that audience. It's not my job, right? Audience. But this feels like it's come through so many times that I feel like there's 2 things. I feel like it's reinforcing it, that big change is coming. Tower. Big change is coming. And there are going to be people who are not getting it. Okay? And that's why this keeps coming through. Whether they're watching these readings or not is kind of above my pay grade. Like, it's not, I do my best to title videos appropriately, but it kind of doesn't matter, right? Energetically, someone is going to be drawn to this reading if they need to hear about something big going on in the world. If you're part of this spiritual community and you're paying attention to your own spiritual connection, something big is going down on this planet. I don't really think you need a fairy to tell you that, right? 10 of Swords. Magician. Queen of Swords. Okay, this just shifted for me. The Magician is about, for me, this has been about the collective shifting and seeing the future more clearly and being able to manifest, regardless of what happens, this 10 of Swords, regardless of what happens, being able to shift. And I almost feel like this is about a manipulation, because I don't like that Magician right next to the 10 of Swords. The Magician is looking at the 10 of Swords like, look at what I did. And the Queen of Swords is looking the other way to the future and saying, you know what? I have a clear vision of this future. There's something here about manipulation of information. Okay, let's see what else. 8 of Cups, 7 of Pentacles, and the Queen of Wands. No, it's the Ace of Wands. The Temperance card. There's nice balance here. 3 of Cups, I like that, and the Moon. So full moon in Aries coming up. That is about, Aries, Aries, the energy of the Emperor is being purged. The energy of domination, control being purged. I almost feel like I'm looking at this and it's either an end to manipulation. We'll see. I'm going to clarify this. An end to manipulation. And like now we're seeing the the negatives of spin, of manipulating information, the negatives of that, and needing to see something clearly. So the full moon in Aries, we are purging out anything that is, low vibe. Aries is about selfishness, right? So we're purging out anything that is low vibe Aries, anything that is about domination and control and selfishness. Those things on this planet are being purged right now. And that means that a lot of people get caught up in recognizing clarity when they see it. It's really not about getting rid of people who are lying. It's not really about that. It's about helping us see more clearly when they are. And I feel like that's what this Queen of Swords is. So there's going to be a time here where we're shifting into seeing more clearly. That's the first thing that's going to happen, the clarity, the new path, the investing time and energy in the new path, and the new ideas, the new downloads that come from the shifting into this whole new energy. I feel like I see this beautiful collective here with this Three of Cups and the Temperance card, the Sagittarian card. Sagittarius is about truth. Sagittarius, Gemini. Gemini, this is Mercury. Okay, so this is Virgo and Gemini. Mercury is their ruler, and Mercury is about how we speak. So there's something here about the way we speak is going to become so obvious when someone is trying to hide something. There will not be any more lying. Lying is not going to be a thing anymore. It's going to be so clear that there won't be a way to hide it. And I feel like that's the energetic shift that's happening. And those of us on this planet who've already had that experience, right? I feel like a lot of you on my channel, the reason we're talking about this even is the ancestors are saying, hey, you guys have been instrumental in being part of the collective that is pursuing truth, spiritual truth, energetic truth, collective truth, and wanting to meditate, wanting to connect to the fairies, wanting to connect to their guides, really pursuing that. And what's at the bottom of that is wanting to cut through what has been such a time of obfuscation. I'm getting the word obfuscation and manipulation. All right, so let me clarify this 10 of Swords and the Magician. I feel like that's over. I feel like with the advent of you all, right? I'm just one light, you're a light, and we're all shining our light. With the advent of this kind of information on YouTube or just expanding, there's, so many of us now. And I feel like that's such a gift because we're all shining the light really super bright with each other, that the manipulation can no longer go on. And that even stands in, I've even seen it like within spiritual groups, certain ways of keeping people hooked, certain ways of telling stories to people, certain ways of making people feel like they aren't powerful in themselves. Okay. And that is something that isn't going to be tolerated anymore on this vibrational level that we're on here. So please clarify the 10 of Swords and the Magician, Mercury, Virgo, Gemini. I am getting Pisces in there too for some reason. So what was this one that jumped out? Okay, Judgment. Look at that. At a crossroads. We're at this moment in time. The Five of Cups is coming out. The World. And there's the Emperor. There's Aries. So I feel like some of us, all of us really, are going to see in what ways have we been lied to? In what ways have we been manipulated? Who's manipulative, who's not. And I've been talking about that for a couple of years, that there's going to be a real awareness of folks who are on the spiritual path and doing the spiritual work that they're here to do. And, sort of being in this collective, being part of this transformation There's a sadness here though, because I do feel like we all know people who aren't aligning with truth. We all know them. And I just feel like there's a certain pulling away, a certain letting go. And that's what happens with the 5D world, is separating even more and more from the 3D world. Like, we have bodies, we're here in this 3D experience, but the more you see it as a hologram, the more you see things from a 5D perspective, the more you're seeing the big picture of things and the way this puzzle fits together, the better off you're going to be. And I just feel like the Emperor here. Oh, wow. I'm glad I pulled that card. Empress, Four of Wands. So that's a beautiful coming together. This is a message for somebody. There has been a manipulation that has kept you apart from your twin flame. There has been some kind of manipulation. You might have believed in it. You might have believed something about your twin flame that has separated you, or there's another person who's getting in the way of it or something like that. That's about to be over too. Like, we're clearing. So I don't think there's anything to do here. I'm just saying to you that the full moon in Aries is shining a light on those who are doing things for selfish reasons. Okay. And also the manipulations that are happening. I feel like that's something that is quickly going away. Now, this middle, the timing card here, Seven of Pentacles. That's a lot of time. Page of Wands and the Seven of Cups. There's Wheel of Fortune. Okay, it'll happen when it happens. Not for nothing, but Seven of Cups and the Seven of Pentacles here. I feel like there is some kind of confusion as to when the destiny is aligned, when that's coming in. Page of Wands and the Ace of Wands. There's something here about just keep moving forward. Just keep doing your work. Just don't worry about this. The message is coming through. There's lots of information coming through, but I feel like some of you need to get on with it. Some of you need to stop identifying as an illness you had 5 years ago. Some of you need to stop identifying with some identity, right? Emperor Aries is about our identities that we create to either, insulate us from pain or keep us from feeling bad. Especially now, there's just so much anxiety on the planet. Things we do to keep ourselves, insulate ourselves from our progress. It's like, get on with it. Stop identifying. I said this a long time. I told this story a long time ago about a friend of mine who really identified with a diagnosis that she had and beat breast cancer. She was able to be cancer-free for a few years. But during those years, she became more and more aligned with that diagnosis, and it came back. And I'm not saying that happens for everybody, but it's sort of like a lesson. It's just like a object lesson here. It's like, stop identifying with diagnoses that stop you from progressing. Like maybe you've got a diagnosis of ADHD, or you've got some kind of mental health condition or something like that. That's not you, right? That's something that's going on in this lifetime. That's something that's going on in this hologram. I'm not saying don't pay attention to your health. I'm definitely not saying that. What I am saying is stop identifying with that as who you are, because that is not who you are. And the same goes for things that put us in an ego space, like, oh, I'm such a healer, I'm such a spiritual person. Like, there's something about that isn't helpful. It's just not going to, it in many ways that's egoic and blocks things. So it's kind of like, okay, yeah, like I know that my hands always buzz in the middle of the night. I know that there's healing capabilities there. I feel it. I'm working with it. It's kind of cool. I'm excited about it. Mediumship, all that stuff. And that's just like, hey, these are just things on my path that I'm being opened up to. And that doesn't make me any different from any of you guys. Like, you all have these same things. You all have the potential. You all have the possibilities. It's like, hey, let's talk about it. This is really cool. but let's not hang on to things because it's a block. And I talk a lot about attachment and detachment as it relates to love, but attachment and detachment as it relates to our identities. That's the message from the ancestors today. It's like, in order to really grow and expand in your spiritual gifts, stop identifying with one or another of them because it stops you from growing. Okay, that's a message for somebody. Now this moon, the full moon in Aries coming in, 3 of Wands. This is expectations. It's about receiving. King of Pentacles, 6 of Pentacles, and the 2 of Swords. There is something here about, I feel like some of you are going to be practicing, going to be asked to develop certain gifts and to align them with service, right? And allow abundance to flow into your life because you're using that as part of your resources to create helpful tools for other people or give you time, right? Resources flowing into your life opens up time for you to do your healing work, for you to do all these things. Like, expect it to come in, expect a lot of abundance to flow, and expect it to be like, okay, now I don't have to have that job anymore. I don't have to do the things that I used to do that would eat up a ton of my life. And so now I'm just going to step into letting this abundance flow and allowing myself to be of service. Just ask for the mission and purpose. How can I be of service? How can I be of service? That's what's going on here, I feel, is that there's a lot of people who are not being of service, who are being more in their own ego about this is who I am and this is what I do and oh, look at how special I am. But there's not awareness that, like, we're all in this healing collective together, and we're all doing that work of healing the earth through the energy of Gaia, through the energy of power that flows from being grounded, flows right up through you, connects to spirit, and comes, for me, my whole body has been, in the middle of the night, I'll wake up because it's tingling so hard. Like, my hands are just on fire and my feet are on fire, just tingling, not like, I don't know. It's energetic fire. Okay. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just energetic fire. And so it's like, okay, show me what to do with this. Show me what am I, and I feel like that's what's happening here for all of us as a collective. Okay. The 3 of Cups here with the Temperance card. It's like being open to these new uses of your time. 7 of Pentacles. How are you investing your time? And the spiritual community, some of us in the spiritual community that are still holding on to lives that are sucking this energy away from us, that's the thing that's going to get blown up. Okay. So some of you who are in marriages or in career paths or something like that, and you're like, well, I'll just still do this life, but over here I'll just kind of dip my toe and I'll kind of dabble, I guess is the word. I feel like that's not, very soon there's going to be just this massive shift out of traditional old school ways of living life. If you're asking, I don't even think you need to be asking. There's something here that's a very destined moment for the spiritual community coming up. All right. I don't know if this is your reading or not, but I am going to keep going. If you want to keep going with me, you're welcome to. There's a link below. But this is saying to me, the very most powerful message here is, first of all, there will be transparency, and those hanging on. It's not even those who are like, oh, look at me, flowing robes or anything like that. It's those who are hiding or who are hanging on to old kinds of lives. That really is on its way out. All right. If you want to continue on, if this is your reading, I will see you over there. There is a link below. See you there. All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. If it was helpful to you, please consider liking this video and sharing it with anybody who might have a need for similar kind of information. And if you like this video, check out these videos.